Guest is a man who did not duck this interview. He wants to make up with Cougar Nation. He is calling for Athletic Director Tom Holmoe to be the AD of the year. He is the editor-in-chief of the Athletic College Football and co-host of the Audible podcast, which today discussed the matchup between Coastal Carolina and BYU. And he's on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. He was Stewart Mandel. Stewart, great to have you back on the show. It's been an interesting 2 weeks, hasn't it?
It has. I guess I stumbled into a little bit of my self-inflicted controversy, but at the end of the day, I just wanted BYU to play a really good game, and here we have it.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. UW obviously was complicated. So I wanted to ask you, did BYU get the goodwill back that maybe it lost in the UW situation for a minute there?
I think so. I remember that last week or the week before, Chris Manini and I had a whole thing about like a point counterpoint on why they should play Cincinnati, why the two of them should play each other. And, Coastal not ranked quite as high as Cincinnati, but it's a top 25 team. It's game day. This couldn't have worked out any better. I feel a little guilty saying that because it took probably a bunch of Liberty players and coaches getting COVID, and you don't ever want that. But the game that we have now, obviously, I think it's a bigger game than BYU Washington would have been.
How much will what happens between the Chanticleers and BYU impact what the College Football Playoff Committee does in the third poll of this very interesting 2020 college football season?
I think if BYU wins, it's what the committee needed to see to justify ranking them higher. I have to think that the people, they do watch the games like they say, and I have to believe that they think BYU is really good, but they just don't think they can justify ranking them higher based on what is basically kind of a mid to low level group of five schedule. Now, this is a group of five game, but it's a team that the committee respects enough to have ranked in its top 20, an undefeated team this late in the season. You hear them all the time when they're talking about why they have a team ranked where they do. They have X number of top 25 wins. So here you go. Here's your chance for that win. And it's not like they have to move that much higher. They're 13 now. You probably have to get to 11 in the final ranking to be high enough. So certainly I think it would. Now you got to finish the job against San Diego State, but those two should do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Boise State win is completely discredited by the committee because
which is ridiculous.
Boise State was playing with Cade Fennigan, who's actually a returned missionary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, two-star guy that BYU didn't look at, but he ends up starting the game. He's the fourth-string guy. I didn't know that he played defense for Boise State as well. Yeah, it's weird, right? BYU would have 2 wins at the time against top 25 teams. It wasn't the playoffs top 25 for Boise State. But BYU beat San Diego State. Like you said, you feel like if BYU is sitting there undefeated on December 20th, they are a New Year's Six team.
I do. When I did my bowl projections this week, and I had Iowa State as that last team in the Fiesta Bowl, that was an Iowa State team that would have 3 losses. I didn't want to do that. I don't think that's right. But, and you saw the committee move them up to number 9. I just felt like why would they change their mind, even if they lose in the Big 12 title game, that they're that much a better team than BYU. But this changes it. This is the resume. This is all we were hoping BYU would be able to pull off, and Tom Holmoe, and I do think he should be AD of the year for all the scheduling miracles he's made. This is exactly what they needed to kind of seal the case.
Stewart, can you put in perspective just how strange and almost unbelievable this is for BYU and Coastal Carolina to pull off something like this with some dynamic scheduling? I know with COVID and everything, we're all kind of turning over rocks that we haven't before, but put this into perspective of just how unique this is.
It's the most 2020 thing yet in this 2020 season. We've learned this year, we're so accustomed to schools announcing their home and homes and whatever, 15 years in advance. And this is the year that we learned that if you really want to, you can create a brand new non-conference matchup on a week's notice or even less. And I think actually the strangest thing was when Cal played UCLA, like on 36 hours notice, and Cal's defensive line had been in quarantine for 2 weeks. But just the perfect storm that had to happen for game day to announce they're going to Coastal, and then the team they're going to play. At one point earlier this week, I can't remember if it was on the podcast or just had that conversation internally, but like what happens when the game day game gets canceled. But fortunately, all parties involved already had a contingency plan, and like I said earlier, you end up with a better game than you would have had.
Yeah, and certainly ESPN jumped in and helped BYU get this. That relationship helped. Not having conference affiliation issues helped. So certainly BYU's situation was a benefit in this case. Yet we look at the matchup and go, okay, BYU fans feel pretty confident going into this game. Vegas does for BYU too, but Coastal Carolina's been pretty good. 9-0 teams, a couple of really good quarterbacks. Grayson McCall, redshirt freshman's been awesome. Like 1 interception and 20 passing touchdowns. What do you think of the matchup here?
Coastal's really good. I get why BYU's favored, and certainly that's who I picked, but I don't think it would be a mistake to think, oh, they're just a lowly Sunbelt team. They are a team that I've been tracking since the very first game when they played Kansas and blew them out I forget how early in September that was, but not a lot of teams were playing yet. They have a lot of speed on both sides of the ball. Grayson McCall is really good. And I think that the really interesting wrinkle to this, a lot of this is going to come down to which staff can prepare their team on 2 days' notice. Which staff can put together a game plan, in these very unusual circumstances. And the thing with Coastal is they have a really innovative offense. I heard Jake Spavital, the Texas State coach, they had him on SportsCenter last night, describe it as a spread option, and that is a pretty good way to describe it. There's a lot of triple option aspects to it, even though they're in the shotgun, and obviously they have a really good passing game. It's not just the run. So, BYU is going to have to be ready for that on defense. So BYU is the more talented team. They've got a first-round quarterback. There's no question about that, but there are some things that Coastal does that can be really tricky.
Do you expect a shootout tomorrow between the Cougars and Chanticleers?
You would think that in a situation like this on short notice, it definitely favors the offense. It's probably not realistic that these defenses are going to have everything figured out about the other team. So, yeah, I mean, I could absolutely see that. Yeah.
Do you feel like Cougar Nation has brought you back in, Stewart?
I hope so. I didn't really mean to fall out of favor so quickly. I mean, if you guys know my work, like I've been on the BYU bandwagon all season. This wasn't about that I don't think they're good or I think they're overrated or anything like that. In fact, let's just once and for all clear up the context on the ducking comment. That tweet was sent maybe an hour after Dabo Swinney had his bizarre comment that he thought Florida State was avoiding the game. They should have played. They one COVID case shouldn't be enough to cancel a game, and he accused Florida State of ducking them. And so when I saw the thing about Washington, I was like, no, this is what ducking looks like. And I guess I never lived it down since. But like I said, all I ever wanted was exactly what has ended up happening, a game like this.
It all ties into South Carolina, right? It was Clemson, and now it's
That's
Coastal.
True. Good point.
It's all tied together. Well, listen, you're back in. We hope that Boney Fuller stops tweeting, clown pictures of you at you. I think he's brought you back in, and Cougar Nation embraces that.
Is that who created the clown picture? I don't know the origins of it.
Yeah, it's a BYU fan account that tweets funny stuff. So yeah. Well,
okay.
we appreciate the time. Great insight. Of course, everyone can check out the Audible podcast, which is awesome, and of course, you work on The Athletic. So, Stewart, thanks for the time, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
Okay, that was Stewart Mandel on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.